Hello, it's time for another episode of Discipleship Today. My name is Bob Benson. I pastor Christ Lutheran Church in Bemis Point. We've been talking about these general commands of Jesus, which come from Matthew 28, the Great Commission, where he's talking about go ye therefore into all the world, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. So we need to know what he has commanded us. Command number 42, it says, take, eat, drink. It comes from Matthew 26, starting in verse 26 and running through verse 28. And I'm going to read that for you from the English Standard Version. Now, as they were eating, Jesus took bread, and after blessing it, he broke it and gave it to his disciples and said, take, eat, this is my body. And he took the cup, and when he had given thanks, he said to them, drink of it, all of you. For this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. Jesus here, we know this as a communion passage, as Jesus setting up communion for us, the Last Supper. Take, eat. The context, now, the first word in verse 26, introduces the second thing that Matthew recorded. It happened while Jesus and his disciples were eating the Passover meal. The first one being in verse 21, he exposes his betrayer, and then he takes some bread, and specifically unleavened bread that would be at the table for the Passover. And he takes it, and he gives thanks to God for it. That's the blessing. And we actually know the words that he spoke there. It's a traditional prayer that many Jews still use today when thanking God. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth. Maybe Jesus had some of those words incorporated there. And then he broke the bread into parts and distributed it and said, he instructed them to eat with the words, this is my body. Now, was it literally his body? No. Does it literally become his body today? No. But it is a representative of partaking in Jesus Christ, believing in him enough to partake in his body, to eat of it. This creates communion with us. His disciples would need to partake in him personally in this spiritual sense. Jesus was thinking of his sacrifice that was coming and the redemption history when he instituted this rite during the Passover meal. Remember, the Jews associated the redemption from Egypt with eating the Passover meal. So this is a historic look back, but also a painting of a forward picture. Jesus' disciples were associated with redemption, that God redeemed them from Egypt. And he's looking forward to the redemption when people believe in the death, burial, and resurrection of himself. It's symbolized in this meal. And we sometimes look at it completely differently, that it doesn't reflect back on the Jewishness of the Jews that partook of the Passover meal. And we can be very short-sighted in that way. So we are commanded to take, eat, and drink. And we have to examine ourselves to see if we're in the right place to do that. It doesn't say that anybody gets to examine you. Nobody gets to make that decision for you. You have to make that decision for yourself. So command number 42, take, eat, and drink. So for Discipleship Today, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch.